Hello and good evening. I'm Melisa Idris. Welcome to Consider This. This is the show where we want you to consider and then reconsider what you know of the news of the day. The Bornean elephant has recently been classified as endangered on the International Union for Conservation of Nature's Red List of Threatened Species. Now, how can conservation efforts be scaled up to ensure the survival of Borneo's unique elephant population? Joining us on the show now is conservation biologist Dr. Nurzhafarina Othman, senior lecturer at University Malaysia Sabah. She's an expert on the Bornean elephant, and she's also the founder of Project Seratu Atai, which is a collective in Sabah that aims to promote coexistence between elephants and humans using research and education. Dr. Farina, thank you for being back on the show with us today. I'm curious to know, you through your work, I'm sure you know or have been aware about the declining population, Bornean elephant population for a while now. And I'm just wondering what it means to you having, read or discovered that the Bornean elephant is now classified as endangered by the IUCN.
Thank you, Melissa, for having me once again. So I think it is a very big step for us. We have been trying to highlight the problems, the issues that are faced by the Bornean elephants with, very limited distribution ranging, like increasing threats to their survival in the wild. So this is a very crucial step for us. We have been trying to, it's not easy working or trying to get data on the elephants, although they're big, but they move a lot and they cover such a huge area. So this is again another kind of indicator that validate our efforts, doing research on them, collaborating with so many people in Sabah, in Malaysia, and internationally. This is a collaborative works of many people. So I'm very, it's there are a lot of things to be done, in the next step. But having them listed, I hope it's really bring more awareness. And concentrated efforts to help them.
What does that mean? So now that they're listed, does that mean that there is more attention, there are more resources now going to be funneled into conservation efforts? Are there, I guess, hidden benefits of being listed as on the red list?
Right. So when we did the assessment, we want to, because there are a lot of consideration criteria that needs to take into, in the assessment. So it really pin out or really show what are the threats. We really look at, the threats that are facing by the elephant. So sometimes we take into granted all of this, and we tend to take very slow actions, but we know from that it can give more kind of negative impacts to the elephant. So we want people to take into consideration when they want to do development, for example, the needs of the elephant. So having them listed formally in the IUCN, it really shows that these threats are critical, and we need to try to improve it now, what we're doing. Yeah.
Dr. Farina, in the last time we had you on the show, I think it was a couple of years ago, and we were already concerned about the dwindling Bornean elephant population then. But you highlighted all the amazing conservation work that has been going into trying to conserve the remaining population, maybe even conserve the habitat. Why hasn't it worked? What were the stumbling blocks in the past couple of years that have led to the decline of the Bornean elephant population until they have been classified endangered?
Actually, working with elephants is not that difficult, but working with people is the most difficult one. So I don't know if you have ever heard human conflicts. So so you have so many stakeholders, and each of the stakeholders have their own kind of value, what they want to achieve, what they need. So to be able to bring people together to achieve the same mission, to have the same, want what we want, how we want to manage the elephant, basically that takes a lot of time and efforts and follow up and things like that. So I would say, and especially they need some, we must also have some political wills. Without political wills, nothing will go forward, because from there, I think that's what we are still need to improve. And yeah, to work with people is actually is the hardest part of in elephant conservation.
So who are the stakeholders that you have to work with? We talk a lot about the destroyed habitat of elephants. So that would mean, I don't know, plantation or palm oil plantation stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders that you need to work with to ensure that we help protect these the elephants?
Yeah, we work with so many stakeholders, so local communities, oil palm industry, tourism industry, timber plantation industry. So these are some of the main stakeholders that we have to approach and try to put ourselves in their shoes, and then bring them together to also understand the needs of having elephants in the ecosystem. And especially in Sabah, elephants are the main attraction of people coming to visit Sabah. So uh, deforestation has been very, very low, I would say, in Sabah. But then that now all of these lands belong to private people, private land. So we need them to have consent to work with us. So that is actually the most difficult one, because again, like I said, everyone has their own value, and they have their own mission and vision.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
why to bring them together to understand. Yeah. So
Well, wildlife doesn't recognize land titles or land borders. So how do we think about that? I think the IUCN Red List assessment highlighted the need for wildlife corridors. Is that an effective solution? How effective would wildlife corridors be, and what are the challenges that we've had in trying to implement it and make sure that it's successful?
yeah, I want to highlight one thing in the assessment. A lot of people, they were very, very scared that the assessment are showing the population declines. Uh, and then we know, for me, numbers are important. But for example, if you have thousands and thousands of elephants, but they don't have the right demographic, what I mean by demographic, we don't have the right, we only have adult females, for example, or we have only juveniles. That is not good, although we have 10,000s of this animal. So right now, what we need is for the main threat for elephants in Sabah is the genetic diversity. So it's very low. So for example, if one disease happen to our elephants, then might all the elephants also can get affected by these diseases. So that's why we need to think about how we can improve or increase the genetic diversity. That is by allowing this elephant to mix, to meet each other. So right now, a lot of the populations are being there is no connectivity. So that's why corridor we see is so important, so that the elephants can move from one area to another area and meet, and then they can breed, and then it can increase the genetic diversity. So declining of the population is mostly because of the of the habitat, reduction and fragmentation. So that's what we must do to increase the connectivity.
Right. Dr. Farina, when we talk about human elephant conflict, are there concerns of elephants being killed because they destroy crops? When they go into human areas to search for food, and then they face retribution from the humans that live there. How do we deal with that scenario? Is that a big reason as to why the population has declined, and how do we deal with that?
Right. So the numbers of the Bornean elephants, first of all, they never move uh outside their current range. I mean, they're not really expanding, which is very questionable. We don't understand why they're not really expanding outside from the east coast of Sabah. Because of that, and the east coast of Sabah are very suitable for agriculture, for oil palm plantation. Now there are a lot of mining that we are heard is going to happen in the future, and there are still all the linear infrastructure such as highway and things like that. That is, there are more threats coming in now, other than deforestation and also the oil palm. So depending on the situation, sometimes elephant need to use the oil palm, and people landscape, because they need to move, and suddenly in the middle you have a village or you have oil palm. So somehow they need to use it. Like where I work in Lobukina Batangan, without going into the oil palm, the elephant won't survive. So they must use the oil palm landscape. And there are certain area, when in villages, sometimes elephant comes to feed on the bananas, on the tapiocas. It's like a sweets, like a special treats for them, while they are on the way going somewhere, and then suddenly you have this. So they stop there. Most of the time conflict happen when we provoke or when we do elephant control without proper planning. So you don't know where you want to divert the elephants to. As long as there is no elephants in my backyard, I don't care about my neighbor, about my other neighbors. There is no communication. So what we're trying to do is to improve the communication. We for example, create a local community honorary wildlife warden. So honorary wildlife warden is a program under the Sabah Wildlife Department. So we want the villagers themselves, the community, understands elephant and understands where elephant goes when the elephants are in their village, for example. So we kind of try to build the skills or the capacity of the community to feel a bit more confident and to take charge. They understand their village better than us, so they know what's the best. So we just walk with them. Yeah.
Right. Well, you have been working with, for conserving Bornean elephants with Strata Atu for a while now. I'm just wondering, are you optimistic that we can scale up our conservation efforts, that we can help save the Bornean elephants?
We lost our rhino already in our lifetime. Like I'm still living and we already lost our rhino. We don't want it to be the same for the elephant. So I I will keep optimistic. I can see a lot of people in Sabah, in Malaysia, that wants to help the Bornean elephants. Um, we just need to continue working together, uh, and then try. We have to be dynamic, so we need to be prepared because elephants are intelligent. They learn all the time, so we need to also try to learn. And for me, bersatu hati, that is our kind of motto. We have all together to work together and bersatu hati to make sure that we can always keep up with our intelligent gentle giant.
Dr. Farina, thank you so much for your work and also for sharing your work with us tonight. Appreciate your time. That was conservation biologist Dr. Nurzhafarina Othman. We're going to take a quick break here on Consider This. We'll be back with more. Stay tuned. Hi, welcome back to Consider This. I'm Melisa Idris. Let's continue our discussion about scaling up efforts to save Bornean elephants from extinction. This after they were recently declared endangered in the IUCN Red List. Joining us now is Primus Lambut. He is head of the Tawau Wildlife Department, species manager in charge of elephants. Primus, thank you so much for being on the show with me today. Can we talk a little bit about why there has been a decline in the Borneo elephant population? What have been your observations through your work?
Okay, thank you. Uh, okay, Firstly, the mortality and Bornean elephant is influenced by several factors, each contributing to the overall decline in their population. Here are some of the key factors leading upon mortality in Bornean elephants. They are habitat loss and fragmentation, where is reduced food and water sources. Habitat loss decrease the availability of food and water. So the human elephant conflict, the accident actually, elephants sometimes fall into wells, trenches, or are struck by vehicle when crossing the road. So poaching in illegal trade, they are every poaching. Although Bornean elephant have a smaller task, they are still targeted for their ivory, leading to direct killings. And the body parts is elephant are also poached for other body parts used in traditional medicine or sold on the black market. So number 4 is diseases and parasites. Emerging diseases, elephant can contract diseases such as the elephant EEHV, which is particularly fatal to young elephants. So the parasite infection, parasite can weaken elephant, making them more susceptible to other illness and decreasing their overall health. So the genetic factors also make it declining the population of the elephant, because in breeding, habitat fragmentation can isolate elephant populations, leading to inbreeding, which reduce genetic diversity and can result in health problems and lower reproductive success.
Okay, so Primus, can you talk about how the Tawau Wildlife Department protects elephants? So your job, tell me about like your job. Apa cabaran yang Primus hadapi dalam kerja, melakukan kerja Primus di Tawau Wildlife Department ni?
The challenges yang paling mencabar sekali adalah bila berlakunya human elephant conflict, di mana banyak kerusakan yang berlaku. The crop damage, elephant raiding crops and destroying property lead to economic losses for farmers, resulting the retaliatory action against elephant lah. So the community awareness and involvement, also the education, raising awareness and education local communities about the importance of elephant conservation and promoting coexistence strategies. So the participant of the community also need, because they encourage community participation and support for the conservation initiative. So the location of the elephant far from the natural habitat actually is the one of the challenges. We need to push the elephant from the complaint and to the natural habitat.
Right.
Jadi dia agak jauh. Bagaimana ini elephant itu sudah berada di kawasan tengah-tengah ladang, dan kita perlu mengiring dia keluar ke kawasan yang lebih selamat ataupun kawasan habitat dia.
So itu ke langkah, so that is the SOP ke kalau ada macam konflik antara gajah dengan manusia, the Jabatan Hidupan Liar akan push elephant keluar dari kawasan itu?
Betul, kita akan melihat di mana kedudukan yang paling dekat dengan habitat, dia punya habitat sebenar ataupun kawasan hutan ataupun kawasan yang selamat, supaya dia pergi ke kawasan itu. Kita akan maksudnya kita mengiring gajah itu keluar daripada kawasan plantation itu sendiri. Tetapi kita perlu melihat di mana kedudukan habitat itu ataupun kawasan hutan yang masih luas untuk dia berada situlah.
Okay, so how does the Tawau Wildlife Department bekerjasama dengan community tempatan, dengan pemegang taruh yang lain, particularly dengan oil palm plantation owners kan, dengan also other NGOs. Sebelum ni saya bercakap dengan Seratu Atai conservation efforts. How do you work together with all the stakeholders?
Okay, untuk collaboration initiative with NGO partnership, we are have a joint project collaboration with conservation-focused NGO on initiatives such as habitat restoration, wildlife monitoring, and community education program. So the expertise exchange, sharing knowledge and expertise in wildlife management, research methodologies and conservation strategies. And then the stakeholder engagement, government agencies, working closely with the government bodies at local, regional, and national level to coordinate conservation efforts and enforce wildlife protection law. In industry partner, engage with plantation company, logging operator, and infrastructure developer to promote sustainable practices and minimize habitat destruction. For the community involvement, community outreach, workshop, training season, and awareness campaign and collaboration with local foster understanding to elephant behavior and promote coexistence and encourage reporting of human-wildlife conflict. So the research and monitoring also must be done because the academic institution partnering with the university and research institute to conduct scientific studies to elephant ecology, population dynamic, habitat use, and the impact of human activities.
Right.
So data sharing is also good because the collaboration on data collection, analysis, and dissemination to inform evidence-based conservation policies and management decisions.
Primus, tadi you mentioned about understanding elephant behavior. So your job as species manager, how do elephants behave, and how can we learn about the behavior of elephants so that we can learn to avoid conflict with them, so that we can help conserve these Bornean elephants? How do Bornean elephants behave? What are their behaviors like?
For me, as sepanjang my experience untuk melihat behavior gajah ini, gajah ini adalah dia mempunyai behavior yang berlainan. Sebab kenapa? Bila sesuatu tempat itu dia ada satu tempat yang dia sudah macam dia terasa tidak selamat bagi dia punya behavior lain. Tempat lain yang kawasan selamat, dia punya behavior dia tidak terlampau agresif. Jadi cara untuk kita membuat ataupun mengiring gajah itu keluar, dia memang different approach, pendekatan yang berlainan. Cara kita untuk mengawal gajah ataupun menggunakan apa-apa metodologi dengan kaedah bunyi, dengan kaedah yang lain ini tidak sama dengan gajah-gajah yang lain. Kita based on we start for yang biasa kita gunakan, and then kenapa dia ada tindak balas yang kita boleh nampak macam mana dia punya keadaan itu, dia boleh terima atau tidak. Dan kalau gajah itu first kita kena tengok juga lah, jangan dia kalau sudah naik minyak itu kita sentiasa berhati-hati untuk mengelak apa-apa insiden, sebab pada masa itu gajah ini memang agresif.
Okay. Primus optimistik tak mengenai masa depan gajah Borneo?
Since Borneo elephant list endangered species, providing us actually to strong impetus for the conservation of this species. Pygmy elephant hold cultural significance among local communities in Sabah, where they are revered as iconic symbol of wildlife and national heritage, and we need to increase the conservation effort, public awareness, advocacy, collaborated with partnership and research and monitoring.
Okay, so you think that maybe in the future masih lagi ada gajah Borneo won't be extinct?
Ya, dan apa yang saya cakap tadi, semua ini perlu dipertingkatkan supaya kelangsungan hidup itu akan kekal.
Saya nak tanya, kenapa gajah Borneo penting untuk ekosistem kita? What is the importance of saving the Bornean elephants for our ecosystem?
For ecosystem, dia adalah umbrella di dalam natural habitat, dia adalah umbrella. Dia akan menjadi satu laluan dan banyak sumber yang dia capai untuk kegunaan yang lain. Masa dia berjalan, semua di dalam perjalanan dia itu sebab dia mengambil satu tempat yang luas untuk melalui kawasan itu. Dia sebenarnya telah membuka satu ruang jalan untuk supaya tumbuh-tumbuhan akan tumbuh. Dan sebenarnya dia banyak fungsi dia di dalam ekosistem.
Okay, so memang penting usaha untuk menyelamatkan gajah Borneo ni.
Dan memang sangat penting untuk kelangsungan, dan sebenarnya dia adalah satu, selain daripada ekosistem sendiri, dia adalah satu sumber daya tarikan untuk pelancongan di Sabah.
Okay, Primus, thank you so much for speaking with me today. That was Primus Lambut from the Tawau Wildlife Department, wrapping up this episode of Consider This. I'm Melisa Idris, signing off for the evening. Thank you so much for watching, and good night.